And now, ladies and gentlemen, we can find the embodiment of that regime in one person in particular. The worst leader of them all, the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen. America got 4 more years of Trump. We, here in Europe, got 5 more years of Ursula von der Leyen. The thing is, though, that no one ever voted for Ursula von der Leyen. No one ever voted for her, yet she is one of the most powerful people in Europe, and she's implementing some of the most destructive policies that our continent has ever seen. Just to give you a few examples, she's the one who introduced the Green Deal, crippling our economy. She's the one who introduced the Migration Pact, replacing our native population. And now she's attacking our national sovereignty even further by introducing the Rearm Europe program, an 800 billion euro defense fund mostly used for Ukraine, a country that isn't and should never be part of the European Union.
The room was silent for a moment until Eva Vlaardingerbroek stepped forward. Her voice was calm, but her eyes carried the fury of millions of Europeans who felt betrayed by a system they never voted for. She turned toward the image of Ursula von der Leyen projected behind her and said, "Madam President, Europe is not your property. It belongs to its people." Her words cut through the air like a blade. No titles, no handshakes, just raw defiance. Vlaardingerbroek accused von der Leyen of turning the European Union into an unelected empire, a bureaucracy that answers to no one but controls everyone. She spoke of a Europe where farmers are crushed by climate laws written in Brussels offices, where small business owners drown under regulations designed by people who've never run a business, where national parliaments sign papers they no longer understand because the real decisions are made behind closed doors by commissioners no citizen can remove. Eva's voice rose. "You talk about democracy, but where is it? Who elected you, Ursula? Who gave you the right to decide the fate of hundreds of millions of people?" The audience erupted, cameras flashed, but Vlaardingerbroek didn't pause. She accused von der Leyen of hiding behind words like sustainability and green transition to disguise an agenda of control, an agenda that forces entire industries to their knees in the name of virtue. She said the EU was no longer a union of cooperation, but a machine of coercion. Then she turned to the issue of migration. "You call it compassion," Eva said, "but it's destruction." She accused Brussels of flooding Europe with policies that erase borders, culture, and identity, all while silencing anyone who dares to object. "You brand patriots as extremists," she said, "because the truth threatens your narrative." Her tone shifted, calm again. But the calm was heavier now, the kind that follows disappointment, not rage. "Europe was built on freedom," she said softly. "Freedom of speech, freedom of thought, freedom of nations to decide their own future. And under your watch, all three are dying." She reminded the crowd of the digital policies being drafted in the name of safety, the censorship laws that give the Commission the right to silence voices online. "You call it protection," Eva said, but it's submission. You are building a digital prison for dissent." At that point, she looked straight into the cameras. Her message was not just for von der Leyen, it was for the millions watching across Europe, those who'd lost trust in everything Brussels promised. "Ursula von der Leyen," she said, her voice unshaken, "you've mistaken compliance for consent. But the people are waking up. The farmers on the roads, the workers in the streets, the young men and women who no longer believe in your slogans. They are the future, not you." Her words echoed across the hall, each sentence sounding less like a speech and more like a verdict. "You've hidden behind immunity for too long," Eva declared. "You've ruled through fear, through unelected power, through quiet deals in rooms the public will never see. But your time of immunity is ending." She paused, just long enough for the silence to grow thick. "Because the day will come when the people of Europe will no longer whisper their anger. They will speak it aloud, and they will remember the names of those who turned their democracy into a cage." Eva Vlaardingerbroek stepped back, her face calm, her voice steady, as if she had just said what every ordinary citizen has wanted to say for years. The crowd rose in applause, but her eyes stayed fixed on the screen where von der Leyen's face lingered. Cold, expressionless, unbothered. And that was the moment, many said, when the room realized this was more than a speech. It was a warning, A warning to those who built a Europe of control and called it progress, a warning that the voices they tried to silence were now too many to ignore.